Hello everybody, this is Rome the Pacific again, and I wanted to talk about the situation going on at the Black Acres of the Gambia between Rick and Solomon. You know, looking at the situation, when I judge the situation, I don't think that Rick from the Black Acres of the Gambia meant wrong to a Solomon, and I don't think that Solomon himself meant wrong to Rick. They both had good intention. Rick from the Black Acres of the Gambia has a certain expectations, but these are expectations that are not they're not technical expectations because he's not a technician. So you know, it's like you could go buy a car and you have your own idea what a good car is, but a lot of time it's not based on it's not a technical judgment. It's simply a vague expectation of what a good car should be. I think Rick from the Black Acres of the Gambia has a vague expectation of how his house ought to be, and he not being a technician, he just gonna look on a lot of stuff. Now Solomon, on the other hand, is a friend of Rick. He sees him as a friend. And I'm gonna get into this. I'm a technician myself. I work on a lot of stuff, including building, BA plumbing, everything, you know. And I don't like doing work for friends or family. They call me every day, my car got issue. I don't like working on them. I tell them straight up, I don't work on friends' car. So Rick has a certain expectation of how his house ought to be like. On the other hand, Solomon doesn't just see Rick as a business partner. And one thing that I like about Solomon is that he said it clear that he was very hesitant about doing business with Rick. He wanted to keep it friends. Those are words of it. That's how you know somebody's a technician. I'm always having a cautionary approach when a friend tell me, can you work on my car? Because I know how it goes. They give me $40 and then they expect me to fix everything on their car. And when things don't go right, oh, you know, maybe you fix somebody's muffler. The next day the tail light goes out and they say, well, I got some problem with my tail light and I don't know if it has something to do with the muffler that you worked on last time. Even though as a technician, I know I didn't do it. I feel like just the fact that they had asked that question mean they have a certain level of a doubt that I might have something to do with it. And those are feelings I don't like. I don't like when somebody's second questioning me. So I think that Rick from the Black Acres of the Gambia wanted the house, and I think what happened is Rick might have not have enough money for that building, and Solomon as a technician having that feeling that, because you know you always see Rick, he's trying to bargain stuff, and when you bargain on things, it means that, hey, your pockets are a little bit kind of light. So I think Solomon did try to compensate for that and satisfy a friend, and trying to make things work out for a friend. I did see videos of the foundation, some of the bricks that were used to make the foundation. Yeah, they're very soft, and you see that a lot across Africa because people want to save money. But another thing about the bricks, a foundation is based on structural strength. So you could have bricks that are relatively weak to the hand, because most construction bricks, or a lot of them, really you could use your hand and just smack it. But the strength of a building is based on, you know, like structural integrity. So you can have these bricks, because I did see Rick complain that they were using all these blocks that were chipping off, and that's the reason why he put them out the door. That foundation is not gonna fall. I mean, it doesn't mean it's the most perfect, but it's probably a medium price type of foundation. But what it is with it, depending on the concrete, when you pour concrete in that, you know, in those blocks, it makes it so much stronger. You know, I'm having more of a technical conversation here, because a lot of things I'm seeing there at bags is I'm seeing Rick run his mouth mostly as somebody who's not a technician, and he admitted, he admitted, and I see some of the stuff he's picking on, and me as a technician, I'm like, if he would just to step aside a little bit, just let Solomon do some of the stuff, I think the end result would be good. because it seems like Solomon has built a lot of these structures before. You know, I personally, I wouldn't have fired Solomon, but I would have sat down and maybe talked with him and said, what do you think? See, one thing is, when you go to Africa, you can't be nitpicking on everything, because some of these guys, they've done these many times before. Now, on the side of Solomon, if Solomon had decided to do this business with Rick as a friend, he should have been, it would have been hard, but he should have been very strict, like, hey, this is what we're supposed to use to make this happen, and this is what the price is, here's the material. And he and Rick agree on everything before anything is even put down. You know, so that's where I'm seeing problem. A problem that is arising is two friends that decided to go into deep business, which they shouldn't have never done. You know, they really should have hired somebody outside to do the job. Because now that Rick is about to hire somebody else, one of the hardest thing in construction and like techniques in general, be it auto repair and stuff like that, is trying to finish off somebody else's job. If that foundation was not done right, the next person that comes and put up the wall, if anything sink, you're not gonna know. You're not gonna know whether to blame the foundation or the next guy. Rick might turn to the next guy and think he's worse than the other one. Now, if he then brings somebody to put up the wall and then, I don't know, fire them and bring somebody to do something with the roof, and you know, they might start just inter-blaming each other. You know, that's where I'm seeing the problem over there. I think that Rick should have stick with somebody that was not a friend. And on his fault, I see Rick nitpick on a lot of stuff. You know, when you're not a technician, it's better to talk as a non-technician, because the moment you go and start talking as a technician, like Solomon said, most technicians are just gonna make it easy and be like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna go by what he's saying, because later I can hold him by his word. And I think that's what happened with Rick. Rick was very specific and imposing on what he wanted, and that's what happened. Solomon started going by what he wanted, and as a friend, I feel like Solomon kind of fell into that cycle of trying to satisfy Rick. He was satisfying Rick's ego, but he was not satisfying the technical aspect of the job as Rick might have wanted. And you know, living in the Gambia right now, Rick is not involved in an activity that is producing a lot of money. There might be a few dimes here and there on YouTube. So I can see him being frustrated, number one, by the speed of the job. You know, I mean, I've never been to the Gambia, but there's got to be better equipment, you know, just certain approach on how to do things. Like these iron rods, they're cutting it with hand saws. Wood is cut with hand saw. Everything is done manual. I can see it from an American perspective being seen as very slow, you know. So yeah, that's my opinion of the whole situation. And I really believe that Rick should have hired somebody else and just keep Solomon as a friend. Things would have been very cool, you know. And so yeah. And another thing really for the repack community, if I was Rick, I hope a lot of people trying to move to Africa learn from Rick's mistake. The first thing that he did was buy land. I wouldn't have done that, because like I said in one of my videos, land tie you to a place. Because right now, if Rick said, you know what, I don't give a fuck about this place, he can't just leave. He would have to find a way to sell it. If I was Rick and I'm the diaspora, I moved to Africa, you building these places, you don't, you know, let's say he's having trouble now with Solomon. Rick don't know who Solomon knows. Solomon might turn the whole neighborhood against Rick, and now Rick don't feel welcome, and he got all these investment on the land. When you move so far away, take your time. Really take your time. I keep advising the diaspora, take your time before you buy your house. Just like Go Black to Africa did. He's been traveling around just looking. He's like, I'm not just gonna do one thing because everybody else is doing. If I was Rick, I would have started a business in a Gambia, like a warehouse business. There's some of these things that don't require a lot of know-how. You know, you just have to be somebody who's good in business. He could have started like a cement sale business. That's a good business in Africa. You just rent a warehouse. I don't know, if you got $10,000 with his pickup truck, Rick could have just been doing cement delivery. He would have been living all right. Yeah, dang on this cement. With $10,000, a pickup truck like he has, when you buy cement, he goes and deliver. I think he would have done so much better. By now, Rick probably would have had like the amount of money he spent on the Black Acres of the Gambia right now. He could have a nice warehouse business and all his kids and wife working together. And then he has this construction as a side project. He would have been doing so much better. I continue to advise the diaspora to plan things out. I've made a few videos about the possible business ideas that the diaspora could start in Africa. And I would be making other videos on that regard. But yeah, my concern about the project now, it would be very sad for an energetic man like Rick and an energetic women like Cynthia to fail to build what I can fairly call the diaspora pilgrimage excuse me, pilgrimage house in the Gambia, because the diaspora is watching and people are really rooting for them, because they're building something that looked like a pilgrimage spot. And it's very sad, or let's say it's very disappointing, to see a great man like Solomon get involved in a project, and he gave up quite a few projects to be able to work on this project with Rick. It's very disappointing to see him not being able to carry it to the end. I feel like the technical amateurism from Rick, and then the friendship aspect, and let's face it, the technical, you know, like the technical inefficiency from the side of Solomon was a problem. You got Rick, who's a technical amateur. He doesn't know how to build a house. On the other hand, you got Solomon, who knows how to build a house, but he does not have the kind of modern equipment that can work up to speed and the standard of somebody who was born and raised in the United States. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, when you're here in America and you want to, let's say, do some roofing, you see guys show up with electrical saw, this and that. You want to pour concrete, you don't have guys like mixing them in wheelbarrows and stuff. They just mix it and mix it, come pour. It's a one-day thing in the Gambia. It turns into a one-month thing. I think there's that culture of expectation. Rick probably was expecting like an American standard of speed, because I don't really believe that the quality of the foundation is bad. When I'm looking at it as a technician, it's not perfect. The bricks are soft, but what I've seen, there was reinforcement. I've seen reinforcement that were made with those rebar cagings. You know, there's a rebar caging structure there to hold that foundation. But other than that, the foundation itself is not just held by the quality of the cement, it's held by the ground. The ground is a very big factor in holding the foundation. And I personally don't like, Rick was complaining about the concrete. To a certain extent, yeah, it does have an effect. But quite a lot of time in Africa, and we built houses when I was in Africa, we built houses out of mud bricks. I've seen houses built out of mud bricks and they last 50 years, 100 years. It doesn't need to be the most solid thing. The most important thing, like Solomon said, is that the dirt be like that, the ground be solid and stable. If it's not stable, you could put any kind of concrete there, that ground will kick it, it will break it. But I did like the fact, one thing that I did like about that foundation, if you look, the foundation is being held by what I would call a rebar post skeleton. So Solomon put like a skeleton that created a structure, an integrated structure that support the foundation. That's one thing that a lot of time in Africa people don't do. So And I think he did that to be able to give that foundation the strength and the flexibility to overcome some, you know, some instability on the ground, because they did say that the ground was soft. So by using a lot of rebar like he did, I commend Solomon for that, because it will help hold it together. And that's why you see a lot of skyscrapers are built out of steel. And these skyscrapers, you might not notice it, but they move quite a bit. They not always stay, but when the wind blows, these skyscrapers move, and it's thanks to the metal structure that it can move like that. If it's just a concrete building, it's solid. But the thing about it, when there's an earthquake, it comes down. So my judgment on the foundation would be this: Rick's budget, because I'm seeing a lot of people go to Africa complain that they're scamming us, they're giving us a Munzugu price. The thing is, Africans are good at one thing. Africans are good at telling people what they want to hear and do for people what they want done. So if you go to Africa and you start really this whole bargaining and bargaining, most technicians will build you something, but it would be of lower quality, and they're not gonna see it as being, they're not gonna see anything wrong with it. They're actually gonna see it as helping. If you talk to Solomon right now, he sees himself as having done a lot to really help Rick. And from my perspective as a technician, I would have seen it the same way. So I don't think they're wrong, and I don't think they're necessarily right. But overall, Rick did get what he got, what he paid for. He knew that Solomon didn't have the fast equipment, because he could have gone and hired a concrete mixing company. Now he could have hired a more, you know, higher end company there that will bring in concrete mixer equipment to dig the foundation. All those things are in the Gambia. But one thing about Africa, the higher, the upper scale you want to go, the more money it costs. You know, the construction mechanism going on at the Black Acres of the Gambia right now, it's not of international standard in terms of speed and efficiency. But what it is built, the houses there's a on the back, it's been built the way things were built in America, like before the age of heavy equipment. The only heavy equipment I've seen come out the backs of the trucks. I mean, I'm surprised they didn't use donkeys to bring the sands out the bag, you know. So so for what Solomon did, the foundation, yes, I will agree with Rick that the blocks were weak, because how do you usually know that a concrete block is weak? You can look at the color. The closer it is to yellow, the more sand there is on it. Most of the time they're using like yellowish sand. The closer it is to gray, the more you know they put more concrete, the more you know they put more cement, and cement is what solidifies it. But at the same time, no, he did see some concrete blocks that were breaking, but that does not mean the foundation is gonna be weak. You could come here in America and go to Home Depot, smack a lot of these blocks, many of them were brick. So you know, the problem that we have there was Rick was trying to be an architect, and Solomon was just trying too hard to satisfy a friend. That's a problem. I have friends come to my house, we're good friends, and they would say, oh, no, you know, I just want this, a little something done on my car, the muffler is making too much noise, you know, I just want something simple. They throw me $40. And I say I tell them I don't have a lift out of my house to really do a professional job to that level, but I'm gonna fix it to a point where it be okay. As soon as I get done, they start nitpicking. That's what I'm seeing at the bags. There's a lot of nitpicking, and most of these guys that are nitpicking, usually they're not technicians, but they have, like I said, they have a certain expectation of how the job should be done, and it's not a technician's expectation. It's just, hey, you know, I want my clothes to look like this. I want my house to look like. It's general. So my conclusion: the foundation at the bags, given the circumstances, for me, it passed the test. For a higher standard, yeah, it could have been stronger than that, but it could have cost more, you know. So If I was Rick, I would continue. Well, right now things are rocky, and Rick is the type of person that if things don't go his way, there's a problem. And Solomon is also somebody of high honor. He's not somebody to be pushed around. He's very proud of what he does. Rick is very proud of what he does. And one thing, when you got two proud individuals like that, and they've already marked their territory, it will be hard to work together again. So my advice to Rick would be to just pick another person. And if Rick want that foundation done fast, first he should go with a technician and see the projects that they have accomplished before. Okay, talk to the people that got that done, that the contract was done for. Are they satisfied? It's like when you go to get a job, people ask for references. They want to know, they want to know if these other people you used to work for, if they were satisfied with your performance. So if you want to go to Africa, for those that want to jump in there, bam, buy your land, build, man, do one thing. Do references, background check. Make sure that this person has a reputation of building things to that standard. Go visit it. Go see the house. Do you like the job that was done? I don't think Rick did that. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that he should have done. I'm seeing a lot of people move to the continent and just want to hit the ground running. When you do that, it makes you look like you don't know what you're doing. Like it makes you look like a dreamer. Like you have this idea of how you're gonna go to Africa and build it real fast, this, that. When you get there, you realize, hey, Rome was not built in a day. So, take your time when you go to Africa. Work with technicians. Do background. When I say background check, talk to as many people as possible. Go see if you want somebody come and say, I build fish tanks. Well, show me a few fish tanks that you built before. Let me talk to the owners. Are they satisfied with the job? Okay, you say you build houses. Let me see, and so on and so forth. Budget things. Again, if I was Rick, I would have rented a place and start like a business. He would have been doing very good. In the Gambia right now, there's business. He could do business with Senegal. I'm talking just selling cement. And he has a pickup truck. When people buy cement, he goes and deliver. He can also sell lumber. He could do a lot of business. Okay, he could sell lumber. When people buy it, he goes and deliver them, and so on and so forth. I'm seeing people go to Africa and waste a lot of their money on some of these what I would call kumbaya projects. I would call them kumbaya projects because these are projects that every black man in America has always had this dream of moving to Africa and just build this civilization, build this, just on land. A lot of things that were denied to you in America. You have this dream of going to Africa and doing it and getting it done. And it's not that easy. And one of them, the black man has been denied land in America for a very long time. So it's in every black man's heart, like, this injustice that was done to me, I can go to Africa and undo that. But the catch here is that when you go to Africa and own that land, it might not be to your advantage. The advantage that there was in owning land 200 years ago might not necessarily be the same in our world. That's why you see the majority of white people don't necessarily own land, like farms like that. A lot of brothers and sisters are moving to the continent with big chunks of money, but I'm seeing a lot of projects fail. And it's mostly because the acquaintance, they're not used to the culture in which they are. And it's coming to bite, because last thing you want is maybe Solomon started to fight back and Rick fight back, and then because everything is on the social media, people started saying, oh no, these Africans don't like us, because this is the type of drama that YouTube is looking for. YouTube is looking for people for that type of sectarian ethnic fight, like, these Africans don't like us, these black Americans don't like us, or they're going up and down, there's all this going on. That's why a lot of people want to watch on YouTube. People want to watch tensions. It's entertaining, like ES and Prince Ayoko. People want to see entertainment. I wish the Black Acres of the Gambia good luck on their future endeavor, but I would have rather see them own a business, a normal business. I feel like they would have make enough money and prepare themselves and then go build a house. Have everything planned out. Have an architect draw everything. Have the money ready, you know, and build it. But I would have been involved in a construction business. If I gotta advise any black person in America going to Africa, construction material is one business that that is gonna be popping in many years to come. I'm probably gonna make a video on business ideas that JT Bigger Figure could do in Kenya, or that Go Black to Africa could do it in Tanzania. I got a lot of business ideas just because I've helped a lot of people start businesses in Africa, and I started making money at the age of 5. No, at the age of 6. I started making money at the age of 6. I still remember. So yeah, that's it for me, man. There's gonna be a lot of blame game, you know, and my fear is me seeing all this drama turn into Africans versus Black Americans. That would be unfortunate. That's one thing I wouldn't want to see happen, because this has nothing to do with ethnicity. Rick has been very good to Africans, you know, or shall I say the Africans on the ground, local, like people say, and the locals have been very good to him. You know what I'm saying? So let's try not to turn this into Black Americans are coming in doing this, or they disrespecting the local, and then Black Americans say, oh, you know, oh, these Africans are scamming. Because this whole narrative of scamming really got stuck into a lot of people's head, to a point where they moved to Africa sometime acting like everybody down there is a scammer. And I think Rick got some of that in his mind, like everybody's out to get him, you know. And that's probably what is influencing his decisions too, because I'm seeing him, the way he's scrutinizing a lot of the project it's like, damn, oh, these people, they lied to me, you know, they didn't do things right, I'm about to fire them and this and that. Business in Africa go beyond, it's not, you know, business in Africa doesn't really work in a contractual way, in a contract driven way, like in America. Everything is the law. You can fire people here and there. Before you know it, you're gonna stand out. You know, people in Africa don't just fire people like that. You take example, you see how Solomon talked to his workers. There's a lot of diplomacy involved. Now, people could argue that maybe we could do things a little differently in Africa by being more direct. Cultures are hard to change. Africans, what we usually do is we don't really like to go to a person and say your breath stink. A lot of people in America sometimes could do that. Not everybody. America is still a polite society. There's a subculture of impoliteness. But yeah, Africans, for the most part, are not going to walk up to somebody and say your breath stink. They're probably going to say, well, I got this free toothbrush that maybe you could have it for free. I got toothpaste too. Yeah, does my breath stink? Most Africans will probably say, oh, I never even thought of that. You know, so I think that's where it's defeating a lot of people moving from a more direct culture here in the U.S. to Africa, where people don't like to tell you things straight like that. Like I said, Africans are expert at telling you what you want to hear. You know, so again, my best wishes to the Black Acres of the Gambia. I hope that he really complete his project, because it will show that he could go to Africa and get things done. And may you guys learn from his mistakes. You know, learn from his mistake. And my best wishes go to Solomon. Like I said, these two guys, two great men. You know, they got potential. I still believe they're gonna achieve a lot in the future. This is just one episode in their way. I hope it doesn't get to a point where they gotta go into court and trying to sort things out. All right, fellas, so that's it for me today. And so yeah, my business idea out of all this business ideas that people could start in Africa is the trade of construction material, a warehouse, selling cement. You buy them in bulk. You got a pickup truck. You deliver cement on job site. You see how hard it was for Solomon to get the cement. He had to go all the way to Senegal to get the cement. So when you have a cement warehouse in Africa, business is good. Cement, rebar for construction, and then lumber. You know, do that. You know, take your time, build a business. Go to China, buy a lot of stuff and sell it. All right, fella, without taking too much more of your time, I hope you guys are doing good, and you know, just continue to watch the videos of some of the efforts that the diaspora is making in Africa together with the African brothers and sisters on the ground, and learn something from it. Thank you. Bye.